James, how had Mom been doing?
I think she's been doing the same as always. And actually, I've been at her house since last week. For the past few days, nothing with her has really changed all too much.
I see, but recently Mom hasn't been answering her phone at all. I'm a little bit worried about her.
And thankfully, I'm living close to her house, so I can be here any time to check up on her if need be.
That's right. This time when she broke her bone, I was shocked. It was hard on me because I'm too far away from her right now to just get up and go see her, so I'm happy that you and your wife are close enough to get there in time. Thank you, James.
You're really that thankful of me?
I am. Having you and your wife over there has helped me relax quite a bit.
Well, if that's the case, I'd really like you to show me your thanks in a more physical way.
James, have you forgotten just how many times my husband has taken care of you? I feel like all he's done for you could make all of this even.
I'm sorry about that. I was just joking.
I hope so. But back to Mom. I'm glad to see that she's gotten well enough now where she can get back up and walk small distances again. At her age, most people that suffer an injury like that usually end up in the wheelchair for good.
Well, you have a point.
I guess I still am a little bit worried about how Mom's been doing. I think I'll go back to her house for a little while. I know that you can't be there all the time, right? You have work yourself.
I'm fine. I'm sure it would be too difficult for you to come over to Mom's house and take care of her by yourself, right? And when it comes to Dad, he's too old and fragile now to help support her.
I guess he's not in the state to be of any help either, huh? He's already told us before that he's pretty close to needing to be put in a home.
So I really don't think you should be coming over to their house when you need someone like me to help out still. To be honest, though, Dad's not wrong by thinking that a home would be better for them. They have the money to afford such a place. Do you think it would be such a bad thing to have those two put in a retirement home?
No, I think that would be all right for them. Actually, having them in a home like that would make me feel a bit more comfortable about me not being around them all the time. There will be all the nurses and pros there as well to help them instead of two amateurs like us. But when it comes to my father-in-law, he doesn't seem to think retirement homes are all that great, and that he'd much rather be in his own house.
Huh? He's just being hard-headed, that guy. I'm sure having to deal with your in-laws is a pain for you, right?
They are pains to deal with, but they are old enough now where I only have a few more years to take care of them, and so I want to make them as happy as possible. But anyway, back to Mom and her condition. I'm just worried.
Mom has told me plenty of times now that she's well enough to pick up things herself again and walk around slowly. And actually, my wife and I have been thinking about moving back in with Mom and Dad.
What? You and your wife? Is Kay really all right with something like that?
Well, it's not like Kay has anything against Mom and Dad. And she's already told me she wouldn't mind being in their house, just as long as there's still some privacy.
Is that right? I always thought of her as being the type of person that would never want to live with her parents, or ours.
I was thinking the same thing about her, but I guess we're both wrong.
Well, I guess by having you and Kay living with Mom and Dad, it would make everyone in the family feel a whole lot better.
Right? Even Mom is really looking forward to it moving in.
But is this really going to be all right for all of you? I think it really takes a lot of time to get used to living back with your parents again. Especially for someone like Kay. I'm sure you'll be able to get used to that life fairly quickly. But with Kay, I'm not sure she'll really like it all that much.
If she really does start to think that she's not liking it, we'll move out. But to start, we're both going to give it a try at least. I at least would like to be living in Mom and Dad's house again, up until her legs are all good again. It will be the best thing for those two.
I guess if you're willing to move out when things get too difficult, that's not too bad. If all of you are okay with doing something like that, then I have no complaints about it. And I'm very thankful for you both stepping in to do something like that.
Well, we both happen to be all right moving back in with him, so leave all of this to us. As for yourself, good luck taking care of your father-in-law.
Thank you, James. You were always a bit of a screw-up in the past, but I guess you've changed a lot since then. Everyone was a bit worried about how you'd turn out as you became an adult. Always thinking about how you were going to manage yourself and if you'd ever find yourself a wife or not.
I think you're beginning to talk too much now.
I'm sorry.
But I do have both Kay and Mom to thank for the way things turned out for me.
As long as you keep being thankful to them for that, then you'll be fine. Well then, with Mom, please and thank you. And tell Kay I say thanks as well.
Ari, do you have time to talk?
What's going on, James?
Well, this is about living in the house with Mom. I think Kay and I will be moving out of here by next month.
What? By next month? Did something happen between you guys and her?
Well, it's not that living here together with her and Dad has been bad for us, but rather Mom is saying she would like to enter a retirement home.
Really? But hasn't her leg healed by now?
Well, she's not wanting to go into one for support, but rather to be there for all the nice foods they serve and to have people her age to talk to. That's why she's willing to pay a little extra to go into a nicer residence.
Is that right? But why so sudden?
She's been talking about how the house is getting old and that there are too many steps in it. And then at one of the recent meetings she went to, she heard about this new home that's been built, which is more like a resort than anything else. So she'd like to move in there and be supported by people her age while having fun. So I wanted to let you know that this is what she's wanted to do.
I suppose that house of hers is really old, and there are more steps in it than most homes have. It probably is better that she goes into a proper retirement home before things become too difficult for her.
I think it's better that way.
Well, I'm just happy for the past month you and Kay have been there with her and Dad. You both at least got to see what it was like to live with her and be there as her support full time. It's not like there were any problems living in the same house as her and Dad, right?
Yeah, both Mom and Kay especially seem to get along pretty well together under the same roof. Of course, I'm sure Kay has been a little nervous about some things.
Well, as long as it wasn't too stressful for you both, then it wasn't time wasted. And if you both really hated living in that place together with Mom and Dad, then I'm sure you both could have just moved out at any time and leave them be. Right?
Well, I guess so.
I'm totally okay with her moving into a retirement home then. She wants to live there after all, it seems. And she'll have people her age to talk with again and support from the staff.
All right. I'm going to get started on the paperwork then.
Thank you for doing that, James. Is there anything you need me to do?
Actually, about the rent. Mom and Dad have the money for the home, but it's way too expensive for those two to live there long term. How much those two have currently, they may only last a year.
That's a good point. How much are you going to need?
$1,000 to start per month would help. I'm sure if she wanted to go to an older location, it would be a whole lot cheaper, but this place is brand new and offers a lot more.
$1,000, huh? I guess I'll send it over. This can make up for all the time I haven't been there to help out. All right, I'll send $1,000 per month.
Is that all right?
Well, you and Kay have been doing a lot more of the harder work there, right? So please, let me pay that amount.
Sure. Well, I'm sorry to have had to ask that, but thank you.
No worries. I'm thankful that you and Kay tried living with and supporting Mom and Dad for a bit. Anyway, once you have the breakdown of the costs and things like that, send it to me.
How has your husband's dad been doing?
Well, actually, I'm not sure he'll be around too much longer. The doctors even said he's getting close.
I see. Well, good luck with things over there.
Thank you. My husband will be home soon, so I have to get dinner going. As for you, please take good care of Mom this last month with her. James, I would like to talk with Mom.
Then go right ahead.
But she doesn't seem to be answering any of the calls.
Well, she never really looks at her phone, does she?
Hey, can you tell me the number for the retirement home she's living at? I would like to call them and ask if they can hand the phone to her.
I think I told you their number before, right?
And after giving that number a call a few times, I wasn't able to get anyone to answer. I think you made a mistake with that number.
I don't think so.
I really am not able to get a hold of anyone on the other end. And after looking up the name of the place, it didn't come up anywhere online. Are Mom and Dad really in a retirement home right now?
What are you saying? You know they both are. They are still in a new location, so perhaps they don't have a homepage or anything like that yet.
Then would you be able to head over to that place for me? Then I can give you a call and you can hand the phone off to Mom. You told me the location is close to Mom and Dad's house, right?
Well, look, I'm at work right now. Can I do that for you after?
Then when you're out of work, you head right over to that retirement home for me.
That's if I'm able to get out of work early today.
Mom is doing all right, right?
She is.
When was the last time you met with her and Dad?
I can't remember. Maybe last month? Mom seemed to be having a blast at that place. She told me she didn't have any problems with the place and was treated kindly by everyone.
Are you sure?
Why are you getting so worked up right now? You're being a bit rude.
Well, I haven't been able to get in touch with Mom for the past month now.
And that's because you've been busy with your husband's father's funeral, right? Mom is not some child, all right? So just let her be happy where she's living. You were getting too worried about nothing right now.
Next week, I'm going to be coming back to town.
What?
Well, I'm not having to look after my father-in-law anymore. And I'd really like to see how Mom and Dad are doing in person.
I told you everything is fine here. You're going to have to come by airplane, right? You were just here 3 months ago. And you want to fly back again? What a waste of money.
My husband said it would be fine. And since I'm no longer bound down by his father, he said I can go back to my hometown for a bit and see you all.
But coming back home now of all times?
What do you mean by that?
I don't want you coming back to Mom and Dad's house. This is my house now. And Kay is telling me that if you come back here for a while, she'd have to deal with you.
I don't have to come back to that house. I'm only there to see Mom and Dad, really, so I can get a hotel. So don't worry about me being back in town.
We are taking good care of both Mom and Dad.
And I want to see that for myself. Also, I just want to see Mom again.
All right. You'll be coming next week, right?
Yes.
Understood. I'll let Mom know that and try to get her to call you back. All right. This is about Mom. She's told me that she doesn't want you coming back to town next week.
Why doesn't she want me coming?
She's told me that at the retirement home she's in, there's a bad case of the flu going around and she doesn't want you to get it. And actually, the staff there have asked for visitors to stay away for the time being because of it.
Well, then maybe we should be getting Mom out of there for a little while. She's able to leave that place to go out whenever she wants, right?
No, Mom isn't doing too well herself. That's why she really doesn't want you to come back to town right now.
I've had enough of this, James. I'm going to stop sending that $1,000 every month.
Huh? Why would you do that? That's the money paying for Mom and Dad to be in that home, right? Do you plan to get both of them kicked out of there?
Retirement home? Mom is living in a park right now with Dad.
What are you talking about? Why would her and Dad be living in a park?
Because you kicked those two out of their own house. The last time I had been texting you about what was going on here, I was already on my way home.
What?
I got a call from my friend saying she saw Mom and Dad both living in a park together downtown. After that, I told my husband and took off to come home. And that's why you've started to text me right now about how she doesn't want me coming home. You don't want me finding out what's happened to the both of them. Nice try lying to me about how there was a flu outbreak at their retirement home.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
I've already found out this much about your lie, and you're still going to try and hide? I am with Mom right now as we speak. She has been telling me all about how you and Kate kicked her and Dad out of the house. And yet for the past few months, I've been sending you $1,000. What's all that about? I was sending you that money for Mom and Dad, yet you've been using it on yourself? I am going to make you pay for all this BS, James.
Such a pain in the butt. Whatever, I don't need your $1,000. I already have this old house now, so I'll just sell it and take the money from that. You were finally able to free yourself from your husband's old man, and now you've had to find out about this? Well, good luck taking care of Mom and Dad for me, please. Kay and I don't have it in us to care for the elderly. So, there you go.
James, you are such a bastard. Don't tell me this is all about you getting into debt again.
This has nothing to do with you.
I think it frickin' does, James. Did you forget about how we had to help you pay off your debts the last time you got into trouble? My husband sent you $10,000. And after giving you that much, you promised us you'd never be in debt again like that.
Shut the hell up, Ari. I forget about the past all the time.
You haven't changed at all then, have you? I can't believe I thought you had gotten better and were no longer a screw-up. I am such an idiot. I'm going to get that house back from you.
Huh? I'm not sure I'll be allowed back in this house now. Now, let's be honest. This place is old, so it'll only sell for a couple thousand at best.
And I don't want you getting any of that money because you don't deserve it. Also, that house is under Mom's name anyway.
But Mom's signature is too easy to forge.
You'd really do that?
I would.
Bet.
Huh?
I don't think you'd ever be able to do that and get away with it.
Why do you think that?
Well, let's just say I've always been aware of what might happen to you after your first time with trouble. And during the time you'd been away from Mom and Dad, I had always been talking to her about what might happen when you got into borrowing money again. So after a few discussions, Mom made a very smart decision and changed the name on that house to mine.
What the hell did you think you guys were doing? You come over here right now and sign these forms for me.
You think I'm going to listen to you? I'm not going to let you have that house.
Well, then I'll sign these documents under your name anyway. I'm sure nobody will care if they forged, right? Even Kay is telling me that nobody is going to believe you if you try disputing it, because I've been the one living here.
You are both the worst. Good luck trying that, because I'm already 2 steps ahead of you. You're not getting any money from us. Not Mom, not Dad, not myself.
Ari, you are more of an idiot than I thought. No matter how hard you try to dispute what I'm doing, I'm the oldest sibling, and I've been the one living in this house for a month now, so I have the right to this place. I saw this sort of stuff in the drama recently. Even if you do manage to get this house from me, I still have an ace in the hole, and that's my inheritance.
Really? Then I'll have Mom and Dad take you out of their will. So forget about that.
Huh?
You think that just because you're their son, you'll automatically get their money when they pass? That's not how it works. If the person who passes away happens to write a will before their death, then that will is legally followed by a lawyer and nothing can be done about it. So after all the things you've done to the both of them, they have said they will be taking your name out of their wills for good. Mom said that she's already been working on it, right after the moment you kicked her out of the house with Dad. You aren't getting a single thing from either one of them, James, so it's game over.
Are you sure?
Look it up. I'm sure that Kay is already freaking out about this and looking it up as we speak.
Ari, I wasn't trying to be mean to Mom and Dad when I kicked them out of the house.
Of course not. You just wanted money, right? Well, it's pretty frickin' insane to think that you'd kick both Mom and Dad out of their own house just for more money.
I was in huge trouble at the time. I had already been fired from my job and, well, there was so much money I owed.
So you really did get yourself into some major debt again.
I tried asking Mom to help me out, but she told me there was no second chances. And when she told me that, I freaked.
What you've done this time is not going to be forgiven by any of us. I was so worried about Mom's injury healing up fine, and a month later she's out in a park living with Dad? I cannot believe this, James. Are you even family to us? After talking to Mom about this, she told me that she never texted or called me because she didn't want to bother me. She said that her and Dad just needed to endure.
I'll apologize to Mom and Dad for this, and of course I'll apologize to you too. So please, don't have Mom and Dad take me out of their wills. I'm sure after selling this house, I can make things work out for myself.
You are not getting any money from any of us, and that includes from selling that house, which isn't even yours. We are finished being your family, jerk.
Ari, please. I made some mistakes. I promise that after this time, I'll never owe money again. I'll make sure to put more effort into working. Give me just one more chance, please? Please.
You had your last chance, and you wasted it. Now you're going to have to face reality.
Right now, Kay and I are in a terrible situation. If we can't get any more money from you, we can't live in this house anymore, what's going to happen to us? Right now, the loan sharks are waiting for the money.
And who cares? I don't give a frick about what's happened to you two. Mom, Dad, and myself are done with you. And we hope those loan sharks make an example of you both now. And when it comes to a place to live, you have places all around you. You had Mom and Dad go live in a park for a while now, so why not give that a try, huh? I think you both need to go find yourself a nice tree to sleep under out here, and then you won't have to pay for any housing. After that, both my parents took James right out of their wills, and then the three of us went back to my mom and dad's house and kicked him and his wife out. Of course, the three of us couldn't do it alone, but with the help of some friends in the neighborhood, we got rid of them. After doing that, we had a lot of the furniture within the house sold, as well as the house itself. James and Kay had tried coming to us asking for forgiveness, begging for it. But after having kicked my mom and dad out of their own house, after getting into debt once again, there was no way in hell we'd forgive them. The rest of the family wants to make sure those two pay for what they did to Mom and Dad by having them get a taste of their own medicine. After saying goodbye to them for good, we all blocked their phone numbers, and since then don't really know what's happened to them. But whether they are able to find a way to pay off those loans or not, I'm sure they'll end up living one of the worst lives possible together. As for my mom and dad, they both moved out to where my husband and I have been living and moved into a retirement home near us. Now, being closer to the both of them, I'll be able to come to their aid immediately, if need be. But, of course, they are both actually in a home now, so I'm sure the staff and such will be there to care for them, even better than I'd be able to. However, I'm going to be going there a lot still to check up on them, as I don't ever want what happened to them before to happen ever again. I want for both my mom and dad to enjoy the last years of their life in peace, surrounded by those who love them,